Hey guys, I'm Nick, and on today's episode of Food and Outdoor Living, we're gonna make a Southwest chicken queso melt. It's gonna be delicious, so stick around. We'll show you step by step how to get it done. So step one to making these sandwiches, we're gonna make a delicious queso, and that queso is what everybody's been raving about here recently. But step one is getting the right peppers. So come on down here, take a look at this. We got some Anaheim peppers. These are also known as California peppers. And we have some jalapeno peppers. They're gonna add some heat, they're about medium heat. Then we have a couple of serranos. They're a little spicier than your jalapenos, but all this together, once you're mixing in with the queso, is gonna chill it out a little bit. It won't be too spicy. Coming over here, we got a few more vegetables that go in this thing. First, we got some tomatillos, and we've got some Roma tomatoes. This is all gonna get roasted with the peppers in the oven under the broiler, and we're gonna peel the skin and everything. So let me show you here real quick. These tomatillos, pretty easy. You're gonna get them, they're gonna have a husk on them. You're gonna peel the husk off right here, right? Give it a little twist. They got a little residue on them, and that's normal. It's a little sticky, so you just run them under some water, give them a nice rinse, make sure there's no dirt on them, right? And you just do this, a couple of them. If I'm making a single batch, I'd only do about 6 of these, but I usually share this with friends and family, and there's usually none left, so I usually make a double batch. So just a real quick rinse, put it over here. Don't even need to season these up right now. All we're gonna do is put them in the oven under the broiler and let them roast up about 5 minutes per side, flipping halfway through, and then I'll show you what's next after that. Okay, so quick update. I forgot to mention we want to add some garlic. So just get a head of garlic, pop off some cloves, pan down here, and so you're going to leave the paper on these things. They'll roast fine like that. It's going to protect the garlic, and we may need to pull these out after about 5 minutes. So when you're flipping all your vegetables over, this is about the time that these will be nice and softened up and roasted. It kind of adds a little sweetness to the garlic. So and that's all going to go into a tomatillo salsa that we're gonna make and then pour into our queso. It's gonna be delicious, stick around. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes now. We're gonna come in here, flip our vegetables, pull our garlic out, and we should be good to go. So I just kind of wanna show you what the vegetables are gonna look like. So it's a nice roasted skin. Now we're gonna be pulling that skin off of these vegetables, so don't worry about that char. That's exactly what we want right now. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. So now we're gonna make our tomatillo salsa. We've got some of our vegetables out of the oven. Our peppers, our Anaheims are still in the oven. They're gonna finish up roasting, but we don't need that for our tomatillo salsa. Right now, we're going to add our tomatillos and our serranos, jalapenos, and our cilantro and our salt, pepper, and garlic. And that's all we need right now. So we're gonna go ahead and get through that, add them to our blender, blend it up, and we'll have a little tomatillo salsa to add into our queso. Thing I wanted to mention also is on your roasting your garlic, once you start to peel them, this is what they should look like. They're going to have almost a translucent color to them, and there's going to be a nice soft feel to them, and that's when you know that your garlic is ready and roasted. So we're going to add a few heads, or a few cloves rather, to the tomatillo salsa here, and we're going to get this blended up. It's going to be delicious. Alright, so we're going to add our salt and pepper, start this blender up, get it ready to go. Just a little pinch, a bowl of salt and pepper. Don't add too much to start with. You can always add more if you need to. The thing about salt is once you add it, you can't take it out, right? All right, so we just blended this up. We're gonna go ahead, give it a taste, see how we're doing right now. Because I think it looks delicious, so let's see. That's perfect. Perfect amount of heat, perfect salt, pepper. That's good to go. So we just set that aside. We're done with that. That's gonna be ready for our queso. So let's go check on these peppers. I think they're about ready. And boom, look at that. That is perfect. That's exactly what you want. That skin is gonna come right off. Here, let's get some tongs out here. We'll go ahead. What you want to do with these, have a bowl set to the side, pick these up, put these in the bowl. Oh yeah, that skin is going to come right off. This is going to be perfect. So you got to get that char on there. That's what makes these peppers sweet. and adds that flavor to your queso. Now this isn't just your average queso. Now this is, you gotta roast these peppers up and you get all that flavor in there. So we are, after about 5 minutes, these are gonna sit under a plastic wrap. We're gonna get a plastic wrap right here, and they're gonna steam because they're still hot, right? Look at that steam right there on that plastic wrap. And what's gonna happen is that steam is gonna separate that skin from the pepper. And when we do that, we're gonna peel the skin off. We're gonna devein those, and we're gonna chop those up. And that's what we're gonna add to our queso later also. All right, so we're going to get these Anaheims out, start peeling the skin, devein, de-seed them. And so this is how you do it. It's pretty easy. I like to take a knife, cut the end off of it, and just sit here and just start peeling this skin back. It just comes right off. Look at that. It's like paper. All right, so now we're going to assemble this queso. It's gonna be delicious. So first, we're gonna start, it actually starts with a little bit of butter, right? So it's about 4 tablespoons of butter. Melt that butter down. That's what we're gonna start with. As that melts down, we're gonna go ahead. I've got a few cloves of garlic here that I minced up. These are the roasted garlic. It's all minced up. Just throw that in there. Get it going in there with that butter. Oh my gosh, if you could already smell this. It's starting to smell delicious in here. So that butter's melting down. It's mixing with that garlic. And that garlic is super sweet because we roasted it, right? So while that's getting there, these are the roasted chopped tomatoes. So we're gonna add that in here. This is just the base, right? We're starting with a base for the queso. So that's starting to get there right now. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our Anaheims. Look at these Anaheims right here. They're all diced up. A few seeds, that's not gonna hurt anybody. These Anaheims aren't very hot to start with. So they're a step up, I would say, from bell peppers, but they have a lot of flavor in them. So, you know, you can put this on chips, you can put it on sandwiches, and it's just really delicious. So, a couple things we're gonna do here. Let's talk about the cheese real quick. So while that's getting going, so 2 different types of cheeses. White American or yellow American. You can use yellow American. I prefer white because it makes the queso really stand out when you have like a white queso for a sandwich. I use yellow if it's just gonna be like a chips and dip kind of day, right? So we're gonna use white American. I prefer to use boar's head. It seems to melt a little better than your average white American cheeses. And then I get it sliced kind of thick into slices. I get it straight from the deli. Then I just grab a block of sharp cheddar. It doesn't matter what brand really, but as long as you do a fresh grate on it, that's what makes it melt. Those already shredded cheddars and other cheeses, they've got some preservatives and stuff in them, and they just don't melt right. They come out really clumpy. So that's that. Now looking here, these our peppers and tomatoes are really going now, right? So it's all coming together. So what we're gonna add to that is we're gonna add a couple of cups of this cream. This is half and half. You can use heavy cream if you have it, but you really don't need it. The cheese is really what's gonna stand out. So that's a couple of cups right there. And just kind of let that get going, let that heat up. Let that heat up, and that's going to be the base for melting our cheese. Then, once the cheese is kind of melted, you'll see that if we need to thin it out or anything like that, I like to add a little bit of chicken stock, just low sodium chicken stock. It adds a little richness and flavor, depth to the queso. But that's what you'll use to thin it out if you need to. But let's go ahead. That's going to heat up, and we're just going to add the cheeses, and we'll show you the finished product here. All right, so we're coming back here. We've got the cheese added now. Look at that. It's all coming together. It's looking delicious, and it tastes amazing so far, but we're not finished. So remember that tomatillo salsa that we set aside? Well, now we're gonna add it in. Oh yeah. And it's just gonna get incorporated in here. It's gonna be delicious. So you just add that in right there, just like that. Make sure you get all that. That's the goodness right there. Remember all those peppers that we roasted and garlic that we roasted? That's gonna add a lot of flavor right now. So here we go. Just stir this till it combines. It's on a low heat right now just to keep it kind of melted. Now, it's like perfect consistency right now, so we don't really need to add any chicken stock to it, but we will later once it starts cooling down, because remember we had this at a boil. So once it starts cooling down a little bit, it'll start thickening up, and then we're going to add a little bit of chicken stock. But this is, I mean, this is delicious already right here. Now what we're going to do, because we're going to eat this later, we're going to put this in the crock pot and just kind of let it hang out and just chill, and it's going to be delicious. So that's where we're at right now with this. So we're not done. We got a couple things we're going to add. So real quick, I'm going to just chop some cilantro real quick. I've already washed this. Just get a good chop on this real quick. Just a real quick chop. You don't want any huge pieces of cilantro in there. And we've already got a little bit of cilantro in there with the tomatillo salsa, but we're gonna just take that, we're gonna add that in. Another layer of flavor, right? So that's kind of how I cook. I just layer flavors one on top of the other. And we're gonna get some lemon juice in there. So you roll the lemon a little bit, it helps break up the fibers on the inside. And that's where you get all your juices from, right? So I just squeeze this. I like to squeeze it over my hand so I catch any seeds coming out, right? And just a half a lemon is all you need. And that's it. That's just going to help brighten it up a little bit so it doesn't like taste so rich. And that's it. We're going to let that hang out. We're going to mix that together. It's going to incorporate, and then we're going to just throw it in the crock pot and let it hang out till we're ready to eat tonight. And then we'll put our sandwiches together. All right, time to assemble this Southwest chicken queso melt. So we've got this chicken, finished it up on the grill. So it only took about 5 minutes per side to knock this out. Then we just slice it. We're gonna slice it not terribly thin, but we want to have a good cut on it. So we got our chicken. You want to grill it to 165 so you don't dry it out, right? So we got just a submarine roll. You know what? I was just gonna put cheese on one side, but I think I'm gonna do it on both sides. So let's see here. This is our finished queso that we made earlier, right? So we're gonna use this almost like a mayo. Oh yeah, look at that. Bam. So that's what we're gonna start with. So we're gonna use iceberg. It's not my very favorite lettuce, right? So it doesn't have a lot of flavor, but there's a place for iceberg lettuce, and the place for iceberg is for texture. You want something crispy. Just romaine just wouldn't hold up to this, right? We just don't want to do that. So I'm gonna do some tomatoes on here, a couple of slices. Oh, some big thick slices right here. Oh yeah, bam, like that. Oh, that's gonna be delicious right there. Then we're gonna get some of this chicken on here. Look at this chicken. So the reason I cut it instead of leaving a whole breast on there, here, let me get a couple more pieces. We're gonna load this thing up. This bad boy is gonna be a nice big sandwich. You're gonna have to do the hunch when you eat this sandwich, right? So we got that. Let's go ahead and put some of this guacamole. This is a guacamole. I finally mixed it up, and we're just gonna layer this guacamole on here. Hold on. This is gonna be good right here. I'm telling you. Right there. Look at that guacamole. Bam. All right. So on top of that, let's go ahead. Let's put this on the plate. And then we're gonna cover it in queso. Oh, it's gonna be delicious. Here you go, people. Here we go. This is it right here. This is it. Here we go. Oh, look at that, people. Boom. I'm gonna close that up. And that right there is your completed Southwest chicken queso melt.